I thought I'd talk a little bit about this new Critter and Guitarri ETC video processor that I've connected up to the Haken Continuum. Now this thing is really meant to visualize audio input in a zillion different ways. It allows you to select different patterns, modes they call them, and you can cycle through these. You can actually program the thing yourself in Python and a graphics language called Pygame that this thing was written in. So it's very open in terms of what you can do with it. Now the audio comes in and you set a threshold, and if the audio is over that threshold, it'll trigger various things to happen in the video. You can set the background color, you can set the foreground color, you can set a screen freeze that basically allows the video to collect up on the screen. It's kind of cool. It's got knobs for parameter control, and each mode has different kinds of settings that these are programmed for. It also allows you to select and create scenes that are kind of groups of modes that can be sequenced in a pattern you like. You can take a screen snapshot. You can also manually trigger this thing. If you don't want to use audio as an input, you can just use it as a simple video processing box that you're playing. It's got its code and programming on a USB flash. There's also a button for display parameters that you can see what's going on and set the thing up. So let's actually do something with it now. So it comes with this little utility that will allow you to record remotely and create snapshots and offload your videos if you want. And there's even another utility that will allow you to automatically upload your creations to YouTube and do other things like that. I've set the continuum up to spectral marimba that I've modified a little bit because I want the sound to continue when I press down. You'll see why. And now let's try and do something with this. Unfortunately, the box does not mix the audio to the outgoing HDMI stream. You're going to have to do that yourself. I think this thing is mainly intended for a real-time visual display device. So let me actually start the thing up to record, and I will put a sync point in here. And I've set this up to one of the oscilloscope modes, and if I play softly you can kind of see it is in fact an oscilloscope. I've set a sine tone, and as I play louder it will get higher in amplitude, and as I get softer it's kind of like what you'd expect from an oscilloscope. If I get higher, you can see the frequency get higher, but at a certain point it's really meant for nice graphic display, not to be an oscilloscope. Though possibly I could go in and program it to be more like one. That might be nice, but let's fool around with it for a little bit, and you can see what's going on here. If I don't trigger, nothing happens in this one, but as long as I'm playing a note, this is why I added the sine tone so it can go on as long as I press. You can see the pattern will accumulate and continue. Now if I press this freeze button, you'll see it kind of just accumulates in a video buffer for as long as the pattern is generating, and at a certain point it will fill the screen. Alright, and if I go back down here, you'll see if I change some of the parameters, this kind of makes it more liney than circly. This one, if I go the other direction, it'll be more or less just circles. I can bring the lines back in. I can make the dots bigger with another parameter change. I can move it around on the screen with another. I can change the background and foreground colors. Here I'll change the foreground colors of everything. I can cycle all the way through right up to a point where I'm multicolored. I can change the background color too. Now let's cycle through some patterns. Here's another one. I can change, you can see, going from triangles right to lines. This might be nice if I start freezing. Here's another kind of mixture of things going on here. Here's an oscilloscope that's almost a lizard-like thing going on. And of course, if I hook a foot pedal up or trigger it with MIDI, it's really gonna shine because I can't really play very well with one hand and turn and use it with another. But I think you kind of get the general idea. Here's kind of a cloud-like thing that goes to circles that I can move around. This one. Oh, here's a test mode that will let me see if I'm triggering correctly or not, that you can always bring up. You can put text in and change text based on your triggers. You can actually import graphics and manipulate those as well, which is something I need to try next, in addition to programming this thing. So I think you get the idea here. There's a zillion patterns that you can change in so many different ways, and that it really is quite interesting, and I could see how possibly this would bring some interest to a performance. Oh, here's one that can change nicely. And this one accumulates kind of nicely. And as I change in this accumulation mode, if I change the foreground color, I can change that along with the pattern. Really cool. I think it's going to be nice. It's a little bit simplistic in its basic mode in terms of the graphics that can be displayed, but importing some of your own graphics files to use, I think, is going to enhance its abilities, and also programming the thing in its Pygame language. That's a Python-based graphics language. So that's it. Hopefully, I can do something interesting with this.